Doing well. It's the Wednesday show of where we link two land masses together across the pond with Trisha Gilder. How are you, Trisha?
I'm doing good, thanks, Wayne. I'm just trying
Good.
to get the. I like to watch the chat when we're on now.
Oh,
Uh,
well, it's just you and I and nine others. And so, hi, Rick. How you doing? Um, I'm trying to
sorry.
see you there as well.
Absolutely pouring it down the
Waiting
rain.
for the comic book store to open. Isn't that great? Isn't it true, though? I think if we could have that anticipation. So, Trisha, you and I haven't seen each other in a couple of weeks. How are you?
Yeah, really good. It's raining here right now, so I'm just trying to get my lights.
Did you have some flooding in your area that last week as well, or some torrential rains coming in? Was it?
No, we had brilliant sunshine for about 3 days. It was like, oh, summer's here, summer's coming. We had that for about 3 days, and now we've got rain for about a week or more forecast. So we might get flooded. Well, not where I live, we won't get flooding, but parts of it might get flooding. Yeah.
Faked you out, didn't it? Spring's not coming. It's rain.
My
Well,
son was sat, I was say modeling then, sunbathing topless in his shorts the other day. That's how hot it was. And he doesn't normally sit out sunbathing very often.
wow.
It was
Got
that
that
hot.
warm, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. And we had the fans out, so all the heating's off. And now we had cold fans on. And now it's not cold, but it's absolutely throwing it down. It's just, yeah. And it's forecast for a good week, I'd say.
Well, happier days are coming. We
Yeah.
got snow yesterday. We've been getting a lot of snow, so we've
Wow.
enjoyed that.
But I did hear that apparently the UK are going to get a really hot summer, so we'll see.
A hot summer.
Really, really hot summer, like extreme. So, yeah.
Have you ever read the works of Nostradamus?
No, I haven't, not really. I've only heard bits. No.
Okay. Yeah, it's been
Maybe you should.
interesting. I was reading some of his quatrains today and kind of just getting a feel. Hi, April. Hi, Darren. Hi, Timothy. TL, good to see you. Jolie, hello. Um, so you and I had been communicating by email, and it became very interesting to me as I was reading a lot of his works, how numerology plays a big role in trying to decipher exactly what Nostradamus was writing about. And I had wrote to you and I said, well, when we find out what our life path number is, how does that help us for the future? And where does numerology come into helping people? I would say, I want to choose my words carefully here, choose their path for the future.
Well, that's the thing. I was thinking about this before we came live. When you say choose your path, I mean, in theory, your life path number is your unique path that you have been given. Like, for instance, we're both life path number nines.
Right.
So, path we've been given is the humanitarian, global consciousness. We care about the world. Very when you're on the positive, because there's the weak and the strong side of each number. So we've all got the weak sides as well. If depends which side we're going to sort of reside in, and we might have moments of slipping into the weak side. We are human at the end of the day.
But see, that's exactly where I was driving at, because as a life path nine, when I know what is who I am, right? And going forward in making life decisions, which are actually making future decisions, excuse me, then to me, I think it becomes very relevant that I'll just give you a hypothetical. So I have an opportunity to take a job that is more, let's say, orientated to consciousness, the
Right.
people there, the company, the mission statement. But I have a chance to go over to company B. Now they're offering me a lot more money, but I can tell that it is not what I think I would be happy in because of who I am. That's where I was driving at.
Yeah, because and this is why I feel if you do if I'd known this when I was younger, knowing my sons, like if you can know your children's numerology, because I get a lot of people asking about this. You see, my family, this is a classic example. I'm the only one with no 8s in my chart. And my immediate family were all about money, business. When, like, I'm not saying they didn't care about, like, my mother was an animal lover, but they were more about the money, business. I mean, we don't live in a city, so it's not so much corporate, but it wasn't about humanity, or, you know, it wasn't
Pursuing the path that you could have been on.
Yeah, and it caused a great divide because they always thought I just didn't care about money. I didn't care about earning money. I was like head in the clouds, you know.
Hey, Brian.
Hi, Brian. Hi, everyone. I was a bit of a dreamer, but I had my numbers are very different to all of them, and they've got no 9s in their chart. And so now looking back, I can understand why I felt like the black sheep. I didn't fit in because they were very business orientated, business minded, and I wasn't. But 9, the word money is a number 9 actually, but we could attract money by being of service to other people.
See, that
Mother Teresa is a classic example, and I've quoted this before. She was a master manifester. She manifested millions. You know, she had private jets laid on for us. She vibrated, they say, on the scale of consciousness, an average of 700. Well, 500 is love, and anything above that, you're going to be manifesting a lot, whether it's money, you know, good opportunities.
How can we find out how we vibrated? That's I mean, I want to, seriously, I mean, this is knowledge to me.
Depending on your beliefs, you can muscle test it. They say the average American, there's a lady I learned it from called Christy Marie Sheldon, and she can look at people's bodies and they light up like a Christmas tree, and she can see all their blocks in life, you know, and it all, you know, the first 7-8 years of your childhood, we're in theta, so we are a psychic sponge for our environment. Whoever brings you up, we are soaking up everything, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
And she can look at people and they light up like a Christmas tree, and she can help clear the blocks. But I believe you can dowse. I used to muscle test what I was sort of what's the word I'm looking for? I'm getting tongue-tied now. That I was vibrating at. And they believe Hitler was about 25 on the scale. It's up to 1,000. The one that
he was at 25.
That
wow.
shows
that's low.
And it gives you different names like shame. You know, the different emotions. Anger is above shame because anger actually is a moving energy.
Mm-hmm.
I think Hitler vibrated at about 25. Mother Teresa was an average of 700. So you can see the difference.
So there is a way that we could train ourselves to begin to learn to vibrate higher. Is that what I'm hearing? I love this.
Like, you know, raising your vibration, letting go of the, you know, forgiveness is a huge one to raise your vibration.
Yes.
Forgiveness, you know, and that is, as number 9s and any other number 9s in the chat, is our biggest life lesson.
Let's talk about this a second, because this, and you know, the uncanniness about this is this has been part of the story of my journey, that when things began to open up for me is when I really found forgiveness. And now, as I hear you, Trisha, I am equating that to understanding that will, in fact, raise your vibration up. But it's a constant, it seems to me that it's a constant effort in order to keep that at first. I mean, forgiveness is something we all love to have as an attribute, but many of us fail out actually implementing.
Yeah, because we might say we've forgiven, but when to me, I know I've fully forgiven when I have no charge. It's neutral.
Mm-hmm.
You speak to somebody, if you don't have to speak to somebody that, you know, that's done you wrong, but say if you have to for whatever reason and you've got no charge, then to me, you know, you've cleared that. You know, there's no positive or negative. like strong charge. Like me and you, our numbers are nearly all the same. So we've both got an attitude 7. So we're in a year of endings this year. So
far out. That's all I got to say.
So get ready. If you're not doing it already, it's like,
hey, Jeff, how you doing?
Hi, Jeff. So it's like forgiveness of the last 8 years is going to be one of our big things for the next 12. You might be feeling it now, or you might feel it close to your birthday. It'll be interesting to see. I think I'm starting to feel it already. So forgiveness of the last 8 years. Well, I'll be very transparent, and I don't speak to my mother anymore. I haven't done for about a year and a half, but I still have, I need to forgive her.
Yeah.
And that's huge. And I'll be honest, I know I'm not fully there, but I know when I do, that's probably going to raise my vibration even more. So really, I need to be doing the forgiveness and truly forgive her. Otherwise, it's going to block me in life.
You know, it brings tears to me almost, because I think it's the one thing that all of us, and maybe not, maybe there's a few out there that have achieved that, but I find for the most part, my fellow spirit beings have a very difficult time with forgiveness and manifesting that. You know, we've heard the term, well, I'll forgive you, but I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. What is it? You know,
I guess you never forget, unless you have your memory wiped. You don't forget it's happened, but you don't hold on to that going over. I don't
think you hold on to that vibration, that energy that just wants to suck the joy right out of the room.
Yeah. So I'll be very transparent. That's something I know I need to work on, is because for a long time I was angry. So I wasn't even in a place to even go to the forgiveness bit. I wasn't ready. But I'm starting to feel now where I'm not saying I'll have her in my life, but I've got to forgive her. It's going to ruin my life.
And that's very important too, because, you know, it's one thing to forgive and forget and to love people, but it's also, you have to use wisdom and discernment to say, well, there are just some people who are just toxic.
Yeah.
And
you can't have them back in your life. Like,
yeah,
you know, I've forgiven my son's father for all, you know, I could speak to him and have a normal conversation like nothing ever happened. So I know I've got to a place of peace with that, and there's no charge to it. So you can do it, but you've got to, I think it's a choice. We choose to forgive or not forgive.
There was a folk singer back in the 70s, Michael Murphy, had a couple of hit songs, Wildfire, but in one of his songs, he says, can old lovers be friends?
I think you can.
I think you can too. I think you can get to that point in your life, and particularly if you know what your life path number is. And if I'd only known about that, I look at how many wasted relationships, Trisha, that could have been so much more enriching in my life, and how I could have been potentially more enriching to theirs.
Yeah. Like I've got an ex who's a life path 1, and me and him could go out for a drink, and I would have no desire to be with him in a romantic level. But 1s and 9s are very good in business, or they can be very good friends, because you've got all 1 to 9, you've got all the numbers within.
Boy, if I'd only known that in business, I could have saved myself some millions of dollars. Seriously.
Yeah, but I know that for me, and I'm pretty much for him, we can just, and we have been friends, and he's helped me out in sticky times and stuff.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah, but there's now there was a time when I couldn't be like that with him at first, because I needed to heal, because I was upset. But once you can get past that, I think you can be friends, not with everybody, but
And I think that's the beauty of who we are, is the fact that if we just had sometimes that little bit of knowledge, and I'm serious, if I had known, for instance, that my first wife, that we were not good for each other, if I'd known that, I could have probably, saved us both a lot of pain.
Wonder what her life path number was. Do you remember her date of birth?
No, I don't. That was a long time ago, and that ship sailed the the memory bank's a long time ago. I don't know. I have to look into that. It's odd though. I mean, these things that I'm learning now is the fact that, someone wrote me today, and we've become good friends this by the communications, because that's how we become friends. Sometimes the words can invoke a stronger foundation of a relationship than the physicality can, if that makes sense.
I've got some friends I've never physically met, and I call them friends. And like, I've got a female friend in the UK, I call her my sister. We've never met, and I don't call other women sister. Usually, we message or speak. We might not speak, but we message virtually every day.
Yeah. And
yeah.
So they were talking about the maze that life is. And it is a maze. I mean, if they'd only given us the map. But I'm beginning to see, Trisha, and it gets right back to what we're talking about here, is the fact that if you can learn things about yourself, for instance, applying numerology to your life, in your decisions. If I had known this in business, and I could say to the other guy across the table, I need to know your birth date. I need to know. No, seriously, listen.
I do all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to do this in the future. I'm going to say, I need your birth date. Give me the place, the time. I've got people in our community that can come back, and I can make a decision that is not based merely on, I think this is a good deal only because it has a potential for profit. But if I understand that, let's say that the guy, what would be the worst type of combination for a 9? An 8?
Well, an 8 and 9.
Or 5?
A 5, probably. Well, 5s, if you're going to go in business with a 5, they're going to probably, like my father was a 5, so this is a great example. They sell ice to Eskimos. They're great with their voice. Like Rex is a 5. They're great with their voice.
Mm-hmm.
But you probably can't always, I'm not saying you can't rely on Rex, but just an example, you might not be able to rely on them to always like be that, they're very, they're not very good at sitting in one place. So if you want someone who stable, reliable, dedicated, you don't really want to go with a 5. But if you want a salesman, somebody who's good at speaking, at selling not selling anything, because obviously
but a good persuader.
Yeah, because if you think Rex is really good
at
speaking, isn't it? And he gets people, interested in things. So yeah,
I'd hire a dozen personalities like Rex. If I was building a sales force on a team, those are the dynamics that I want to see. And the thing that I learned as a CEO, Trisha, is that growing up through the corporate world as I did, the best companies figured it out really early. And that is, you always keep your marketing and salespeople away from everybody else.
Yeah.
Because if you put them in, for instance, with accounting or, AP, it ain't going to work. It's just not going to work. So,
I mean, we're more than just a life path number, but I've noticed it really this is like I'm my 8th year. And like I said, I feel like I'm just beginning, but it never ceases to amaze me how people's life path numbers fit for them. So like, if you want somebody who's going to be a hard worker, dedicated, very business-minded, you want the 8s and the 4s. As long as the 8 is humanitarian, if that's what your sort of area, you want someone's got a humanitarian side. A 9 and an 8 can work really well together because they are the CEOs, the bosses, the managers.
Yep.
If you want somebody that can be a peacemaker, you want the 11s and the 2s. We've all got their place.
Yeah, boy, I wish I had known that as well. 11s and 2s, because, when you mix personalities, and I used to teach sales, and part of it was that we taught a course called responsive selling. And as I would tell the account executives that would come into the training, was that, people aren't looking for reasons to be sold. What they're seeking is affirmation as to why they're buying. And if you can plug into that, there's a technique that I used to teach and still use it. It's called mirroring. and it's how you mirror the person opposite of you. And these are techniques. If I had known 11 and 2s were the peacemakers, you need those in every company.
Yeah, you definitely do. You do need the peacemakers and the ones that will calm things down.
Who are good at analytics? The people that I always call the number crunchers. They're the accountants, the people that seem to go into accounting and related type of fields.
Life path fours are often accountants.
Folks, if you're looking to start a business, hey, Sandra D, how are you? Caught y'all's show over there. Shameless plug for Jeff and Sandra D over on the New Cosmic Knowledge channel. Good show, folks. So fours would be good for that, huh?
Fours,
I bet you they're good software engineers too, aren't they?
Yeah, but sevens can be, I say often they could make good hackers. Sevens. I've got 2 sevens in my chart.
I love this.
I've got 2 sevens, but I'm not really into computer programming. But like Mark Zuckerberg, whether you like him or not, he's got 5s, but he's also got 7s in his chart. So
hey,
a lot of people in computing, it's analytical. They either go into the occult, what's hidden, secrets of the truth, which is more where I've gone, or they can go into computer programming and hacking, or not hacking in a bad way, but I bet a lot of the police, because it's the psychic detective, the private detective, they want to get to the root. It's very Scorpio-like. I've found a lot of people in computing have got 7s or a 7 life path number.
I'll tell you what, you're welcome, Sandra. I wish I had, I left that world behind, but boy, I'll tell you, Trisha, in the day, this would have been invaluable information. So 7s would make the ideal hacker. Now, that's interesting. Why is that? Is it just the way that they are? Is it just that they're
the seekers of the truth. So they want to, and I'm not saying all 7s are bad, by the way, because
No, I love that. Seekers of the truth. Wow, that's heavy.
Sandra said she knows someone who's 7 who's a sly. Well, there are the weak side of a 7 can be quite destructive and quite. You think of a Scorpio that's you've wronged. That's like how a 7.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they're the seekers of the truth. So they want to get underneath. They want to get through. They want to know what's underneath everything. So I think that's why they make hackers is trying to, break through, get information that nobody
makes sense to me.
But there's sort of 2 types: the ones that go into like astrology, numerology, psychics. But then there's the sort that will go the analytical, more minded, that will go into like maybe be a surgeon or.
Wow. Okay. You just said that they could. So this is interesting. Talking to a colleague in my past, and what most people don't realize is the Federal Reserve, the central banks, they employ the best, the ones that apparently really have shown numerologists, such as yourself. Come to find out, they actually have Veda astrologers on staff. It's quite interesting. And that's why, before we came on live, I'm saying, now, wait a minute. If you've got government agencies, let's go even above government agencies, you've got banks, money, and they're using these tools. It said to me, I think there might be something more to this.
Yeah. They must, yeah. I'm not surprised that they use them, because I never take it as, if I find out someone's life path number, it now doesn't cease to amaze me. And at first I could sort of predict somebody's life path number, but it was usually the 5s or 8s I was good at. Now it's getting to the point where, and this isn't set bragging, but it's just, I think, through repetition of doing so many, I could virtually tell you someone's life path number by just knowing a bit about them, or know they've got those numbers in their chart. And that's just come with time and practice. That's not, but if I'm learning that through seeing so many people with those characteristics, And those people might not even know their numerology. So it's not like, oh, I'm going to fit the mold of my numbers.
Yeah. I wonder if we could apply the same principle, Trisha, that you're talking here. Let's say we have a politician. You have a new prime minister that's up, before Parliament. Over here, we have a new president, a presidential candidate. If we could start running the numbers, I know Heidi has done this on Trump, but I'm beginning to think if we could start doing this on virtually every politician, you know what? That kind of give us the constituents a little bit more power here, wouldn't it?
Well, we used to do that on the radio. I was on the radio on Sunday night on the show that I originally created, but then I left because I don't know, just something wasn't feel right, and I moved on. But I do go on and be a guest. And running up to the and it's based in Las Vegas, so a lot of the people, they were asking about the election as it was running up to it. For 7 months, we looked at all the candidates' charts and we predicted Trump would get in on his numbers. And I'm not an expert, and I wasn't going on, their political views. I wasn't going on anything but their numbers. And
I love this.
And if Hillary is a great storyteller, let's just put it that way. And she's got lots of threes in her chart, and I know I've got threes in the chat. I'm not saying everybody, that's a three is a storyteller as in a bad way, but for her, she's
well, I don't know. I'm from Texas. We'd call him. Are you saying she's a liar?
But on the flip side, they're great storytellers.
What's that?
There can be great actors as in getting to the role of, so there are a lot of actors and musicians that are threes, and so it plays its part. Because I know Brian's in the chat and he's the three, so I was thinking, I hope he doesn't think that's...
Brian's a good man. But let me talk about the duality of this. I mean, since it's a philosophy that was brought into us from the East, but let's just talk about it. So all of us have got the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde syndrome. We really do. I think it's as we begin to master that which is within us that I like how we say we go full circle back to this. We raise in vibration.
Yeah, like life path nines, we'll use 9 as an example because we're both 9s. It's ruled by Mars. So our weak side can be impatient, intolerant. Calm
down now. Don't stress. Take it easy.
Okay. All right. Because that was R. Wayne Steiger at one time.
Yeah.
Go on.
When I was a child, my mother used to say to me, you always want to be first. You always want to be, and we've both got one birthday. So we are really, your birthday are your talents and your abilities. Well, you and I are both born on the 19th. So we've got one birthday. So we'll be good at leadership, being self-employed. But they tried to squash that in me. It was like, no, you're not a leader. So I didn't believe it for a long time in myself. And it's took.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. This is commentary, personal opinion. But you see, that's what bothers me about our species. And we seem to do it to more of the girls, the females. Yeah. We so diminish their inner image of themselves, Trisha. Is this like you said, you began to believe it?
Yeah, because if your mother and your father are constantly telling you, and they're squashing it, and they didn't know any better, then you can't help it. You program, your subconscious mind's been programmed constantly. Yeah. Now my son he's born on the 19th, so he's got one birthday. So I know now it's going the opposite way around here, because I'm encouraging him to be an entrepreneur, because I feel he has got that in him. He's a 444. He's a 4 life path. He's got 3 4s in his chart. He's got 2 2s, so he's got that mediator side to him as well. But he's got one birthday. He can be a leader, and he's shown that. But he's not ready at the moment. He doesn't. He says, this is where number 4s will say, no, I want the regular paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
I need security. So that is very apt for him.
Entrepreneurship is something I've known all of my life. And because I started out earlier, I was selling joints and bags of marijuana. But anyway.
Well, I was selling candy floss and popcorn. See, they said that about me, but then I'd be running, when my mother was I was running my father's business for him in the summer.
See?
Single-handedly. So I did, and they could rely on me.
Yeah.
And I would stand there 12 hours a day running their business, selling popcorn, candy floss, donuts. You know,
I love this.
Not very healthy, but
well, listen, I mean, humans don't always do what's healthy for them. In fact, we do more often that's not. But entrepreneurship, as I see it now, Trisha, and I understand my life path numbers and those numbers that are relevant, I'm beginning to see how all of this, I mean, it's kind of freaky when you look back, because the future is yet to be, right? So I could take numerology and I can say, well, I'm a life path 9. This is my attributes. This is what I'm looking for. And if I did it at 20, well, that's future. I'm 60 now. I can look back and go, holy crap, this stuff really is accurate.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. As when I started to get deeper into it, I thought it's just, this is so me. Even when I was like 8 or 9, where my parents had this, you know, the business on the fairs in the summer, the other people, like I was drawn to the gypsy, you know, caravan. I was desperate to get in there, never could get in there. Remember having a crystal ball and the cards, wasn't allowed in, I was too young.
Really?
I was desperate, but never got to go in. And on the flip side, I was looking after everybody's children, like the baby, you know, because they were running their businesses and they had babies and toddlers. I'd be always taking out the little children, and I'd be like 8 or 9 myself, you know, and it's apt. But then I wanted to take them home and look after them because I thought they weren't being looked after properly. And I had that thought at 8 and 9.
You know, Trisha, as you're talking, I got this imagery in my mind. I could see a different path of your life totally. I mean, imagine if you had actually gotten that desire.
If I'd been
with the gypsies.
Yeah, if I'd been encouraged to go down the metaphysical route at a younger age, yeah, it would. Yeah, but you know, just wasn't my immediate family. It was all about business and money and selling, you know, and properties. I wasn't encouraged one bit.
You see, it makes me sad, because even when I look at all the good people that are in the chat room here, what we do to ourselves and to others.
But eventually I got on the path because life happened, and I was forced on the path because
the inevitable was going to happen anyway, right?
Yeah, in my marriage, you know, what happened. And then I was gifted a Reiki session, which I'd never heard of Reiki, and I know I probably might repeat myself. And that's when it all just blew away.
Listen, if we have some Reiki masters that'd like to come on, we'd love to have you. I'd love to have a nice little round table, because as I'm learning now, you know, we have all these masters, and I look at the journeyman that when I go into the chat room here, when I look over at whether it's Brian's channel, all the channels that are out there, Jeff, Sanders, all the ones that are out there, that there are so many journeymen in now. And we're learning, Trisha. We're learning from people like you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was gifted a Reiki session by Women's Aid in, 15, 16 years ago in Cornwall. And I didn't know, who knew that they gifted, I mean, I actually could have.
So what does that mean exactly, that they gifted?
Well, they gifted me a free Reiki session to go.
Okay.
It's in Penzance in Cornwall. She had a Reiki shop, crystal shop. So she, you know, it was full of beautiful crystals, you know, everything, beautiful shop. And then in the back, she had like a holistic center.
Okay.
She was a Reiki master. So she, you know, and I had no idea what it was, but I didn't question it. I didn't think this is wrong or whatever. I thought it was going to be a massage or something like that, because I was in a lot of pain in my shoulders and back. And she I just never forget, she laid her hands on my backs of my shoulders, and it was like her hands were on fire. And I said, can I please just touch your hands, because they feel like little hot water bottles. And I touched her hands. I said, but they're not hot, they're just normal. And she says, I know. She says, you're holding so much energy in the backs of your shoulders, stored, trapped energy here, you know, right down there. And she was, I don't know if everybody does this, she also drew images that she saw, and, you know, when she was doing the session. And I didn't know whether it'd done anything. I enjoyed the session, but after that, it's sort of, I become obsessed with amethyst. I become obsessed with purple. It must have done something. And she'd drawn this image, and she said, this is going to mean a lot to you, already does. And it was like all these mountains and this boardwalk out into the water. It was very specific. And I was like, no, I can't pinpoint it. Maybe it's the future or something. Anyway, I got home, walked in my kitchen, looked on the wall. I was like, oh my gosh, that's the picture on my, and it was Ullswater in the Lake District in the UK. So anybody that knows, Ullswater in the Lake District is quite famous place in the UK. And I'd got it hung on my kitchen wall, and that is exact, she drew it exactly. And it was somewhere we used to go when I was a child.
Wow.
But it was a very peaceful picture, you know, the water was very peaceful, and it was something that I just enjoyed looking at. And there's no way she could have known that, no way.
You see, Trisha, this is what we got to get out more. I mean, I know they're out there. We just need to get them, I think, where people, because that, did it change your life?
That session?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had one session, and I thought it was a strange at first thing to gift somebody a Reiki session, because I didn't know what it was. But Women's Aid would, you know, for women that were domestically abused, were gifting that to women. And I was like, wow. You know, yeah. And I was like, wow. So gosh, you know, what they might do these days for women. But
well, if there are women out there that have that talent, let us know, because you know, Trisha, my heart, and Brian, Milky Way Weekly, Brian, you asked me about this, and I got your answer for you. This is your answer. If there are those women that have that gifting, and Trisha, I think that that's what needs to happen, particularly to the female part of our species, is that I don't think until we can learn to aid and to heal the feminine, that's females. They have been abused and misused throughout the annals of history.
Yeah, like when I've had Reiki done on, I don't do it myself. I could do it, but when I have mini sessions now, or I've had top-ups, my readings get better. My third eye floods with, one day it flooded with rainbows. I mean, sometimes I would just see like purple or green.
Yeah. Now, yeah.
It definitely does something. And
I see the most beautiful, I can't describe it. It's teal, but it's a color that I immerse myself in it. It's have
you ever seen
energy.
the eye? When you close your eyes and you see the big eye blinking at you.
I see it all the time.
Yeah, that tripped me out when I first saw that. I was like, there's this big eye just blinking.
I love that dude. That's what I say. I say, I love you, man.
It's like, wow, that's like, you know, my eyes are closed, I'm seeing this big eye blinking at me, but like, yeah. But it definitely, and it improves my readings. You know, I become a clearer channel.
I believe that. Well, I really want to see how, you know, us men, I'm talking about Jeff Doherty, talking about Rex, talking about Brian, myself, you know, we can help be an aid to this and really begin to do something meaningful, because there's a lot of healing that needs to be done.
Yeah, women I feel both men and women though. I've seen in the UK, I don't know about in America, it started to swing the other way where there was making, I don't really watch TV, but they were making adverts with very bashing men, putting men down, ridiculing men. I didn't like that. I mean,
No, that's not the answer.
that's not the answer. We've all got our strengths and our, you know, I think we should just embrace each other's strengths as men and women. Like, I know there's things that men are better at doing than I'm at doing, but then as women, you know, we can give birth. You know, men can't give birth.
Hey, listen, and that's top in my book.
And it's not a competition, you know.
You know, I realize us guys, we got to play a role in that, but you know, there's a certain point where, you know, we're no longer required in that. So yeah, it's
But
you
I
know,
think if we can love in each other, the strengths in men and women, the world would be such a better, and relationships would be better. You see so many couples being
there seems to be a lot of this twin flame going on in this community. What and the, you know, and to me, it's positive.
I'm very into twin. I've studied this for a while, but it's sort of all died down, and then I've noticed it's. Yeah, I believe in twin flames. I do.
I think it's far out. I mean, you know, my wife and I, Lynn and I mean, we have become so connected psychically now. It's just weird.
Do you think you're twin flames? Because that is one of the signs when you've got such a strong telepathic link.
Well, see, I never even heard the term. You know, to me, twin flames is a F-16, you know, or a F-14 Tomcat. You know, I don't know.
I'd only heard of it, well, maybe about 4 years ago, but that was fairly new to me, and I was like, okay, I'm open to this. But I understand a lot more about it now. And there is a difference between soulmates and twin flames. Yeah,
you know, I think that's one of those key critical pieces of information that, you know, we ought to know about.
Yeah, because it's, you know, I feel my son is one of my soulmates. So he's a twin flame is going to be a lover, though. They're not going to be a friend or a child or a pet. They are going to be a lover. So it is different.
As the saying goes, as it is above, as it is below. You know, we're born into a family here, and there's so many elements that come together. And I can't help but not think that we're going to be born into a family when we leave here. And maybe that's what those soulmates are. Maybe they're merely extensions of a family we already have, or one we're going to be knowing about.
I don't know. Or I don't know, maybe. But don't you ever meet people and I've had female friends that I've met where I've instantly got on, and it's like, you sure we've not known each other before? Like, I instantly like feel a connection, and we've become the bestest of friends just instantly.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had it in relationships, but I've certainly had it with females as friends. Like, sure we've not met before? Like, you're very familiar, and then we've just no arguments.
It happens to y'all all the time. I love this.
Like my neighbor next door, I mean, she's a number 9. You couldn't make this stuff up. And we just instantly get on, you know, just instantly. Again,
as I look back in my life, the uncanniness of this, it's just weird. It's not weird. I think what it is, it's fascinating because I look at this and I'm just in awe. You know, I get up each day, Trisha, just like a child. You know, it's, you know, I don't know what new experience is there, but they seem to be coming quite a bit. And I know you and I were talking earlier. There's something happening to our species right now. There really is. And I'm seeing a dichotomy of two paths. I'm seeing those who have the desire to know the metaphysical, the spiritual, outside of religion. They understand that religion is one thing, but spirituality is totally different.
Yeah.
And we're seeing them come in by the droves. But I'm also seeing a very disturbing side of that, and this is a very angry side.
Do you know what I've experienced personally is the ones that claim to be the enlightened ones, the ones that give themselves a label, and they seem to live off this label, and they brag about how they are this special individual, these massive, they're usually the ones that are the least, they've got them probably the most work to do, because the ones that truly are, just do it. They be it. They don't have to brag about their gifts and talents. They just get on with it. They just do it. And I found they're the ones that are struggling, the ones that are, their ego has, there's this saying, your ego is not your amigo.
Well, I say the other thing that's so much that what we have to learn again is to learn to laugh. You know, if you know people who don't laugh, then they're sick. And I mean sick, they're soul sick, because if they can't laugh anymore, then something is something wrong on the inside.
And I've also found this, I call it spiritual snobbery, but that's just a term I've used. I've seen it
Ooh,
all
I like that.
Yeah, spiritual snobbery. I've never seen so much backbiting and infighting as in the so-called spiritual community.
Yeah,
And
they're struggling.
I know the people that don't claim to be spiritual, and there can be men and women, particularly men, but they're probably more spiritual than these people. You know, they just get on with it. They don't, their ego isn't saying, no, I'm more spiritual than you, and I've got this gift, you know, higher than you. And some of the average people, you could, or not, they're not average, no one's average, just a normal guy on the street who could be a builder, say,
layman, commoners.
They might be more spiritual than those that are claiming to be these enlightened ones. And that's what I'm finding.
There's a woman at our grocery store, and she is a cashier. That woman is wonderful. She emits such love, and it's hard. I mean, she stands on her feet, you know, for many hours at a time, serving people who are just rude and grumpy. She always has a smile. And I told her, I said, you are truly one of the light beings.
Yeah, I've got goosebumps. I've got goosebumps, yeah. Because there's actually someone, something I want to do. I don't know if she comes in your chat room. She's called Warrior Princess.
Yeah, Warrior Princess. Yep.
Well, I watched her videos. I don't know if you've seen them, and it's really touched me. She helps run a food bank. You know, people to come in, and I'm going to do a show. I'm going to raise some funds because I watched them. They're not getting enough money in. She's running this food bank.
Where is she at? Is she here in the UK or in the US? I think she's in the US, isn't she?
In America. And it really touched me because I know she's been through a lot in life.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's get her over on my channel, and I'll reach out to Rex, and maybe those who have the other channels, maybe we can do something here, and let's raise some money and let's start feeding people. And if I know who she is, she's been a subscriber of mine for a long time. I didn't know that, but let's start doing something.
Well, she started to, because she comes on my channel and I encourage her to get her cards of truth out, and she helps do readings, and she comes and she never asks for anything.
Well,
and you know what?
Warrior Princess.
And I thought, I need to do something. You know, I might not have loads of money myself, but
listen, let me just tell everyone this, Trisha. It's not what you have in your bank account. $1. If you were to take all the subscribers between Leak Project, mine, Rex, Heidi's, you get these other channels together, and if everyone gave $1 for every subscriber, we could raise in a very short period of time well over $100,000.
Yeah, and that would feed a lot of people, because some people might say, well, you know, I don't live there. What's that got to do with me? Well, you know, sometimes in life, you know, you might find you're in a position where you're struggling, and you know, you'll be grateful for something.
Have you ever been hungry? Let me tell you, it sucks. You know, as a child, I went hungry, and I learned a very powerful principle very early in life, Trisha. I learned to start giving food away, and you know what? I've never missed a day, even in the time, and there has been some lean times here where I didn't have anything. The only thing I had was my time, and I mowed my neighbors' yards without them knowing it. So $1 can go so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I thought. Well, I can do readings. I could do readings and raise money and but you know, I've got to speak to her about
Let's
how
get this organized. Get
I
with her on this. We'll help out, and let's see what we all can do. This would be a great opportunity for this community to come together and really show that we're not just talk, but we can really do some action here. There's a lot of hurting people. I know. Right.
And I've seen her when we've had her on and we've got her smiling and laughing and her face lights up, and she's doing such great work for people when she hasn't got anything herself, you know.
Well,
she's not got much herself.
Listen,
and it really touched me, and I wanted to do something. So
I guess someone didn't like that because they gave us a thumbs down. I just saw that. Well, you know what?
Wow.
When someone's going to give a thumbs down, we're going to get 1,000 thumbs up and let her know we're going to do this. We're going to do this. Let's do it. And I know
I hope that person sleeps well at night. That's all I can say.
Okay. Does she have a PayPal account or something set up?
I'll speak to her because she didn't even know I was going to do this. So.
Well, guess what? She's got a surprise coming, and I'm going to tell you what. See if you and her can come on Friday night.
Okay.
And if she has a PayPal account, we'll start raising some money. And I'll tell you what, folks, that's the best way to bring more energy into this community.
That's made my day, that has, because I know I could do it myself, but with your help and others, it would make it a lot more powerful.
You get in touch with me, get in touch with her, and then Friday night, on the Friday Night Live show, we are going to do our own raise-a-thon.
And remember, people, you know, when you do this, even if you give $1, and you give it unconditional.
Well, I'm hoping everyone can give a little bit more, you know, maybe
what I mean?
5 or 10.
I'll give you a classic example as well. I've had a lady that comes on my show, and she's always giving super chats. Now she sends me PayPal. We got her on and we did her reading, and somebody's come to me anonymously, and I'm not going to say it is. They've paid for her to have a full hour's reading because they said she gives so much to you.
Yeah.
I want to give, and I'm like, wow, that is so kind of you. I've got the person's name, but I don't even know they are on YouTube, and they don't want her to know. But they said, I want her to have this as a gift. And I was like, there are good people in this world.
Let's do something. And maybe YouTube, who knows? Maybe they'll get behind this. You know, if we can change one person at a time, fill one stomach at a time, and at the same time, give them a gift of hope, not a handout, but a hand up.
Yeah, because she's doing the work. They're not just sitting there working to make this work, you know.
Well,
can't get enough funds in. So,
well, listen, and you know, let's do this. You know,
thank you.
Well, I think we can really do something that will empower people to say, hey, these people really do more than just talk.
Yeah, and you never know when you might be in need, you know, so others.
Amen. I'll tell you what, and I say, yeah, amen. That's all right. That's how I grew up. That's just how we are. Well, Trisha,
I'll contact her then, and
let's do it. You email me, and we will get her on this, and I'll even put some time into the radio show, and let's do this. This is good. This is right. I sense that it's right.
Yeah, it feels right to me too. That's why I thought, you know, I'm going to do something. I don't do it if it doesn't feel right. Yeah. It felt right to me.
Yep. This is what makes us unique, our species. And so, all right, we're in. Let's do it.
Okay, awesome. I shall be in touch.
Trish, this is for you. I'm going to give you a big hug. Love you this much. So, folks, we appreciate all of you that stopped by. Spread the word. Talk to your friends. We're going to do this Friday night. And let's really show people what we can do by feeding others. And the great thing about it is, I think that this money will carry an energy, Trisha, that will transcend the food itself.
Yes, because that's another thing. It's the energy behind it. When, you know, if you are giving it in anger or giving it in something else, it'll have the wrong energy. But when you're giving it with love, and, you know, you want to help, it will have a different energy.
Well, Everyone, thank you. We will see you next Wednesday. Trish, stay on. And in the meantime, be kind to one another. Be kind to yourself. All right. Bye-bye, folks.